Louisiana versus all y'all. Jarrett Roser here with senior quarterback Rida Ghazzali of the Riverdale Rebels down there just outside New Orleans. And this is an interview that we've been talking about for a couple months now. So I'm really glad we get a chance to do it now with this season fast approaching. Going to talk about just some expectations for the Rebels off of back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time in school history and looking for more this year in 2024. Rita, appreciate you taking some time out of your weekend to chat a little bit and looking forward to it, man. How have you been?
I'm just chilling, just trying to get the guys together. Appreciate you for inviting me, my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk about it. And I alluded to it a little bit there. There's some expectations for you guys this year. There's more talent. When I start looking at prospect type stuff, there's more Riverdale guys on some rankings right now than have been the case at any point for me. But getting into this season, you guys are a few weeks into camp now. How's everything been going for y'all? What's kind of your takeaway of where y'all are right now and what you've been pleased with so far as this season does approach?
Just my team getting together. We got the guys to have a great season. I think just getting together, building up. Defense going against offense. We got some great guys all around, you know what I mean? So it's just a battle every practice, just getting the guys together for a great season. I think we're going to wake up a lot of people throughout the season. And we got new coaching staff. We're in the spread now with Coach Foster coming over from Warren Easton and the offensive coordinator. Basically, a lot of coaches coming over from Warren Easton, taking in Riverdale, which is a big risk, but I think we're going to have great reward for them. And we're gonna wake up a lot of guys, and that's the plan for sure.
Even before the coaching change, the fact that y'all made back-to-back playoffs was already historic for this program. It had been since 2014 that the Rebels hadn't made the playoffs since 2014 until 2 years ago, and now back-to-back for the first time in school history. As a guy that was a part of these teams these last couple of years, what did you notice about just that trajectory? What started to fall into place for you guys to, while you still weren't necessarily where you hoped to be potentially this year, what were some of those early positive signs you saw from this group that you have that you're a part of?
I think, just us getting together. I feel like with those past teams, they didn't make it so far because they weren't getting together, not just from practice, but when you go to like the field, go throw around, stuff like that. Of course, we were in Wing T for the past 2 years, so we couldn't really push through the level that we wanted to, but we had those guys, and with those guys, we had chemistry. So obviously, we went to playoffs back to back and stuff like that, but we could have made that push to go farther. And I think with, like I said, these new coaches, and we've been linking up all the time, going to Harrell, going to Jefferson, just meeting up, trying to get this link. And I think that those guys that passed on like the playoff experience, I think now we're gonna take the playoff experience even farther and hopefully practice on Thanksgiving. That's the plan.
You mentioned Coach Foster and some guys from Warren Easton, which obviously has been, for years now, one of the top most competitive programs, not just in the New Orleans area, but on a statewide level. What has been the biggest, with them coming over, the biggest, I guess, early message or early sense that you get from them? There's obviously a certain level of confidence that has to come from them having been a part of a staff that has done some big things. When you talk about just the cultural dynamics that they've tried to bring over, what has stood out other than obviously X's and O's standpoints, where you talk about slinging it around a little bit more from just a program building standpoint? What have you noticed about the early months of them at the helm?
I think I noticed that with Coach Foster coming in, we've gotten a lot of discipline. He's taught us how to become a team, not just become great athletes, but also become football players and not people that play football. And what that comes with is, like I said, creating discipline, but also creating a program that can go on from years to come, from years on. And with Coach Foster coming in, he like I said, with discipline, but also just showing us that it's a player led program. And usually we were waiting for coaches to try and lead us, but now the players are starting to step up. And like I said, just players becoming leaders, and that's something that he brought on with him. Also, he used to coach at St. Aug, which they had Leonard Fournette when he was there. So he brings up how when Leonard was a freshman over there, that right when he stepped into that program as a freshman, he showed that he was a leader. And with that, St. Aug was a great team at that time. So he showed the players that if we want to win, y'all need to be leaders. And we just took that and went on with it. And I think it's going great from now.
What is the dynamic like right now? You mentioned y'all are trying to wake some people up. Have folks, y'all's classmates, the school community, have they started to realize yet that this is a group that has a chance to continue to do some things that maybe haven't been done there before? I know it's going to be a process through this season to wake up folks around the New Orleans area and around the state. Have the other guys and girls that y'all are going to classes with, have they started to realize, okay, there's a little bit of a different feel around this group right now? Or are they in for a surprise, in your opinion, in the coming weeks?
Well, I mean, that comes over time, like you said. I think when we play Salmon and then when we go on to play Higgins and then Haynes, I think through those games and, just building up, I think that's when people are going to start seeing, wow, this is a great team. But we've always had dogs, you know what I mean? We've always had those guys that could go out and win a game. So, like I said, over time, people are going to, see. But it's just, going through and just over time, people are going to find out. That's our plan. Yeah.
Do you guys have, when you look at the outlook for this season, specific goals that y'all talk about in terms of we'd like to win? This is a game that's circled for us, or we really want to make sure we hit this mark in terms of a record or a playoff seeding, or how far we want to push it, or is that more of just a byproduct of some of the things that we're talking about right now in terms of culture and process? Just, I guess, as y'all talk about, here's what we want to get out of this season, what do those conversations look like in terms of the way that y'all talk about it, or the things that y'all talk about?
For sure. When Coach Foster came in, he told us he wants us to go 10-0. We have a big game. We have a good 10 games that we can easily go 10-0, but also there's a great game in Newman, so we want to win that one. We want to practice on Thanksgiving. That's the third one. That's one that we really, really, really want to do. Practice on Thanksgiving, which a lot of teams are not able to do.
As a group of guys that hasn't had a chance to do some of those things, when the staff comes over and starts saying stuff like that are all really big goals, how quickly is everyone believing that, or how much of a process is that to kind of get everyone on board to believe that? How immediate was that versus how much are guys like you needing to kind of rally other guys around you to be like, no, we can do this? I know it may not be something that we're used to seeing at this school, but how
Yeah.
does that belief process work within the team?
I mean, when he like we've had these sessions of training at practice, he's been killing us. So with over time, people have been like, people over time, people are like, man, we could do this. You know what I mean? When we went to 707 tournaments, we were beating great teams. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like we were just beating them. Like we were flying past some incredible teams. So like I said, when he came in, and it's not just like basically what the leaders say, but it's more like over time us playing and just playing against great teams, seeing how great teams are and how we go against them. We can stand up against these guys. So like I said, when he said those things, it didn't take time for people to find out. It was like, all right, coach, we got you. Let's go. You get what I'm saying? Everybody bought on. So that's it.
How meaningful is it, this opportunity that y'all's group has to potentially, you talk about surprising people, waking some people up? If y'all do some of these things, it has sort of a legacy type effect where you kind of rewrite to some degree right now the way that people look at this program. How cool of an opportunity is that to be a part of something like that? How meaningful can that be for you guys if y'all follow through and reach those goals, and all of a sudden people have to take notice?
It's for sure meaningful. Like, trying to build a program and just taking off from it. I think we could be great. And with that being said, like we are going to be great, and that's going to be extremely meaningful because teams are going to come back to that 2025 team. You know what I mean? So that's for sure. I mean,
Talk me through your development these last few years a little bit, to see where you are now as a quarterback that is having the success you had this summer, obviously, and has the expectations you have this fall. You're a guy that, you mentioned Coach Foster's background a few years back, having been at St. Aug. I don't think I told you, the first person that told me, hey, look at the Riverdale quarterback, was the new St. Aug coach, Coach Valdez. I ran into him at LSU one day,
yeah.
and he mentioned I needed to start paying a little bit closer attention to you guys. What have you been most proud of in terms of your development as a young quarterback, as a young leader the last year, 2 years or so, to be where you're a guy that we're having this conversation and coaches around the area are talking about you that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing, but I think over like when my freshman and sophomore year, I wasn't taking the game serious for sure. So when it came to my junior and senior year, I had to step up, and that's where I found guys like Robbie, where I found guys like Chase Forte, my QB coach. Those guys have showed me where I can go, and they just took me onto the path. And I mean, where 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 I've come to where I am, it's just nothing but hard work and dedication, and just people. Everywhere I go, people are like, "What school you go to?" I go Riverdale. So, and we ain't worried about you. And then at the end of the session, they go, "Why you at Riverdale?" Find out. You gonna find out, and then when you go back to earlier, like it's very meaningful. This team that we're about to have, I'm not just gonna prove who I am, but I'm gonna prove who Riverdale is. And yeah, and like I said, I mean, I appreciate Coach Valdez for telling you about those things, but people are gonna open their eyes, and a lot of people are gonna speak about me and my team at the end of this, for sure.
Talk about some of these other guys on this team, and obviously it's a full roster, and there's no way we can sit here and list everybody. But Dwayne Swilly is a guy that I've had a chance to see and really like as a young prospect. Torrance Signal, another guy that's been a playmaker for you guys, and that list just continues to go on. Who were some other on either side of the ball, any position, just some guys that people need to know right now are going to be other leaders on this team, whether from a playmaking standpoint or from a true leadership standpoint, some of you veterans on this team that people need to be taking notice of?
There's a lot of guys.
I know it's a tough spot to put you in.
I whole team said, but I mean, first people I gotta speak about is my O line, of course. They're the guys protecting me, make sure I don't get killed. So like our first leader is gonna be Chris Ramirez. He's a senior and he's been with me all 4 years. He's a great O lineman. And then our right tackle is Samurai Tamari. This guy, he's a gymaholic. Like he's in the gym every day and he's very big. Then another guy, our other leader is Varnell Foster. He came over from Warren Easton, our linebacker. He's a great athlete, brother of Wallace and then son of Coach Foster. And then Byron Paralat, a dog. I don't know if you know who he is, but people are gonna find out about him. He's a dog. He was the one actually catching all his passes in that one video that he took. And then name Torrance Signal, Dwayne Swilly, of course, those guys are gonna be big coming years to come. And then I mean, I could go on to Kobe Buffkin, our other linebacker, dog, and then I'm gonna end it off with a bit like a great athlete. No, let me say two more people. Dax Boss, our outside receiver. He's a dog. I didn't get him a lot of passes. That video that he took, he told me about it. I felt bad because he was passes the whole time. And that one game that you took, he didn't get any. So I felt bad for him. But you're gonna find out about him. And then Darnell Bolton, our DN. I think by his senior year, he's gonna have a couple SEC offers. This guy, he's not just like he reminds me of Leonard. How Coach Foster spoke about Leonard. This guy Darnell's a freshman. He's taking jobs that other seniors should be taking, and he's just flying past it. And he's in the gym like Samet. And yeah, I mean I could go on for a while. I'm telling you, this team is the greatest Riverdale team of all time, and I think we're gonna open up a ton of eyes, especially with this new coaching staff.
There you go. So, I mean, this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg in terms of what people need to be starting to take some notice of, not only the talent, but uh, the attitude, the level of determination and stuff that you hear from Rita, and not just him, but a lot of the guys around that program has been really interesting. I told Rita earlier this summer, even going back to my high school days, 20 years ago now, and thinking back to hanging out with girlfriends and friends over there at Riverdale, and just kind of the way that they talked about or thought about the football team versus where these guys are right now is a night and day dynamic. And so it's really cool to hear. And I'm looking forward to it.
Sir, you know it. Hey, keep us on the radio. Got you.
Anything else that you want to share with folks that they should know about you as a young player, or y'all's group as a team that should be on some radars this year?
This is Riverdale.
There you go. Again, he's Rida Ghazzali, the senior quarterback for these Riverdale Scottish Rebels, getting ready for this fast approaching 2024 season, ready to surprise some people and put the program on the map in a way that it hasn't, I'd say hasn't been in a while, but really hasn't been ever. And so make sure you keep an eye on them and some of the talent and potential that's coming through there. Appreciate Rita for his time. Appreciate everyone for taking the time to watch the video. For Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser. Thanks again.